All right, welcome everybody to our mega draft for Lord of the Rings League. We got our top eight players here, and they are drafting six packs of Lord of the Rings, so a little bit different from our usual mega draft format of varied sets. We got Mitch here with me, and we got Rafael or Prudent as our feature drafter, who was leading the league for a good portion of it, and he looks like he wants that Rangers Firebrand, which I would personally agree with. What else do we see in this pack? It's of
So
interest.
there's Fateful Strike, not the top pick, although it looks fine. It's a legendary instant, unique in that way. Among the uncommons, I mean, Samwise the Stout-Hearted has been a performer. Breaking the Fellowship, although it has the ring tempts you on it, not what you want to start with.
No, no.
There's a temp card that he's going to take, and it's also removal, so
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's played the set knows Temp with the Ring is just very, very strong. We were saying like basically the two best cards in this pack both have Temp with the Ring, and I was gonna say, is he gonna be one of the people fighting over black? And I mean, our whoever was passing him just took a rare and left him with three black uncommons. So what do we think about his choices here?
um, well, he's hovering over the two that are looking most appealing here. Gollum is a repeatable ring tempts you card that's pretty high priority. Gothmog is two bodies. There's a lot of talk on. I've heard on both Lords Limited and Limited Resources. They talked about the high level drafting because of the Barcelona Pro Tour that just
Yeah,
happened,
last week
and yeah, there's a whole lot of
or
talk
2 weeks
about what
ago.
you should start going into. They obviously value ring temps you a lot.
Yeah, so this is interesting because unlike our other previous mega drafts, which is like an unknown meta of more or less random sets, we we know this set. We've played it for the past month plus. We know what's good. We know what's not good. And we know that black is the best color. So he's going right down to the wire here, and he's taking the golem there at the very last moment. Raphael, he's played a lot of this set, drafting and obviously in league, and I think he knows sort of where the color rankings lie, with black being absurdly powerful, red and blue being next, and then white and green sort of bringing up the rear. But
Yeah,
white still being playable, and he's highlighting the white cards here.
yeah, they're separated into tiers with red and black at the top in general, but there's a lot of nuance too. He starts with a two strong red, one red and one black card, so they both tempt. Not a bad start at all.
Yeah, if he wants to stay with both of his first two picks, probably the Fire Leaper would be the way to go. But if he wants to branch out, he's got some options here with the white cards.
Yeah, he's gonna look to not get cut, which is pretty important when there's a color imbalance.
Yeah, and he's highlighted the shadow facts here, signaling that maybe he doesn't want to fight over black, which I know. I think one of the feature drafts at the Pro Tour, pretty clearly the drafter just did not want to fight over black. Never got enough good reasons to fight over it because it's so deep, but also so many people are going to be contesting. And I think knowing how to draft the other decks is a big strength. Knowing how to draft the green decks, knowing how to draft some of the blue decks that don't have black in them. That's a strength. And Boros deck, Shadowfax is a reason to do it. Following that up, he has an Aaron Rider of Gondor here as probably the best white or red card, with the Rohirrim Lancer being very close as well. And a couple good
I think
blue cards there.
He was hovering the Lancer. The Bastong always performs, from what I've seen. I think he's thinking about Bastong too, just to speculate on blue as well.
Yeah, it is a six-pack draft, so you can stay open for a while. But in this set, you do, because some of the archetypes are a bit narrow. You do kind of need to zero in maybe faster than our normal mega drafts, where it's just random sets, and you could sometimes wait till even halfway through the draft before really locking in your second color. And he sees Old Man Willow here, which, I mean, I would say green black is the best of the green decks, and that card is just an all star. And if green is open, he might end up in a green and a non-black shell and splash the Old Man Willow, or might just end up with just enough black cards. But I think he's just kind of taking what he thinks is the best card in each pack so far, and I basically agree with the picks. As if he just wants to stick to the most powerful cards to start with.
That's the way. It's a 6 pack draft. I wonder if Mirkwood adds has more value because you can sculpt your deck a bit better.
Yeah,
But Mirkwood
Merkle's
Bats
yeah,
not as good as we thought it would be when before the set came out. I'd say.
he's very quickly taken the Ents Fury. He's somebody who I know from hanging out in the chats and just uh, doing drafts on Arena. Streaming him or me or other people. He's not hesitant about getting into green, and he's okay with it. If it's going to be open, you're just like there are good green cards. I know at the beginning of the format there was sort of this talk in the limited community that green was basically unplayable. There's nothing worth going into green over. Once black and red became overdrafted, it became correct some portion of the time to be in green, and people learned how to draft the green decks. Those who stuck around, a lot of people just sort of kind of just
No.
shoved, ignored the format. And he had the Ents Fury highlighted, but he actually took the Innkeeper there right at the end.
Yeah, the Butterbur. I'm not sure how much several Butterburs is going to help. They don't synergize particularly well, and they're both legendary.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
having multiple of them just means you're more likely to draw one if your deck is benefiting from it. So I think what he might have in mind is sort of a green based, possibly with white or black, just Legends deck, which, you get the green fixing, you get hopefully the many partings, the Great Halls
Great
of the
Hall is
Citadel.
yeah, that's the card that puts it together. The Great Hall. You just
And
take all the legends.
here's
Great
another
Butterbur.
Butterbur, but there's a Generous Ant, which to me is a bigger signal than a Butterbur. I mean, I don't think whoever passed two of them is you know, gonna think that somebody's gonna take three. But the Generous Ant is that's one of the things that ties the whole green deck together too. And it works well with that green black, the other green black uncommon, the Rise of the Witch King, if you can get that going. But also even with Revive the Shire, which is another desirable card a lot of the time. So he's not shying away from green, and I think
It'd been funny if you started pack one of 3 Butterburs, though. That would be funny.
I think an eighth pick Ents Generous Ent and then a ninth pick Ents Fury is kind of enough of a signal for him. Like Generous Ent being seventh, being eighth pick, that means that basically everybody saw that pack and nobody took the Generous Ent. That's kind of a signal here.
Well, starting with a black red, now he's jumping ship. It's looking like green is a good possibility. You said he's not afraid to jump into green, so
Well, absolutely not. I mean, I'm surprised he took the Innkeeper there. It looks like he took the Hobbit Sting over the Ents Fury, thinking if he's going to be a green white base, the Hobbit Sting is maybe a little bit better. But also saying
if
if this doesn't work out and I end up in a white deck, I still have the Hobbit Sting lying around, and he gets another Ents Fury here. He probably clocked that the other Ents Fury was going to wheel anyway.
someone's serious about green, there wouldn't be all these End Furies still late in the pack. So, oh, did he take the rockets? It's hard to tell.
No, I don't believe he did. So looking at Tale of Tenuvial here, I've never really seen that card put to good use, but I mean the words on it are not completely terrible. Mirkwood Spider is a nice card. It is good defensively. It blocks basically all the ring bearers. Um, that's one of the reasons why people like it.
He
He
did
did take the Wizard's Rocket over the Ensfury. Okay,
one End Fury. Okay,
interesting.
not even.
I know that he's just like we actually discussed Ents Fury. It's just like 2 mana sorcery speed fight, just not that interesting. Not a sign for him. Not a signal. Not a pull either. Looks like he's setting himself up here for a green deck of some kind.
A foil or a Nerum Lancer.
We got a Battle of Bywater as the rare.
Sorry.
There's another Ranger's Firebrand there, which is very appealing. Doesn't necessarily go with what he took in the back half of that pack. If he's looking for green cards, Woe's Pathfinder is a pretty good one. Let's see
Looks
what
like
he
he's
says.
covering those exactly. Battle of Bywater being passed to someone is something to remember if you're playing against someone who's in white.
I think that card is better than it looks, but it looks pretty awful, so that's not that's not a great assessment of the card.
Probably going to beat up on his deck
I've
with
seen
green.
it, I've seen it create really favorable board states for the person casting it. It's just how many times did the person have it in their hand and couldn't cast it, and it just rotted away in their hand, and they never were able to deploy it. Like whenever it gets cast, it's usually good. Like whenever it hits the stack, it's usually doing something really favorable for the person casting it.
Yep. It looks like a Raf is going to be passing the Rangers Firebrand to Evan. I don't know if Evan's in red, but going to see that.
Okay, so he has taken the Battle of Bywater here. So interesting kind of pick there. I guess he's thinking I'm going to have a bunch of small white creatures, perhaps. Maybe he's trying to hedge. He doesn't want to go too far into any color, but Battle of Bywater is a pretty. It's kind of digging your feet in here for a white deck.
Yeah. Ended up in white, it looks like. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, most of the cards in this pack, outside of some of the blue cards, are mostly pretty medium cards. There's a few good blue ones in there, but the rest are not really interesting. The only thing that I think he saw was that blue was he basically didn't see anything good in blue at all in the first pack. Like
Escape, Soothing a Smeagol, and the Gale, all very serviceable.
yeah,
So
Mental Door does work too, depending on the deck.
blue's the one color he's like kind of not going in at all, as you said. Yeah.
So it looks like he's going with the Birthday Escape. Just thinking, well, it's the best card in that pack, which I would agree with. Even if I don't have any blue cards, let me just take it just in case. We're still early on, right? We're still early.
If he wants the second one, it's right there.
Yeah, there's a second one. There's also the Rise of the Witch King. There's Lash of the Balrog for black cards, but I think he maybe has resigned himself to not being able to play black at all. But interesting to see what he takes here.
The double white plan from Bywater is not looking great when looking at this pack.
Yeah, he instantly just clicked the Birthday Escape into that sideboard there.
Yep.
so he
Not the
just
greatest sign.
so he just said, I took it, but maybe not. Maybe not really taking it.
Good
All
news
right,
is
he
you can
settled on
go.
Rise of the Witch King here, and Many Partings would be a pretty strong follow up. And I think just as the words were leaving my mouth, he's clicking on it here. Or maybe not. He's
Many,
deselected it.
many parting. When you're drafting with good players, I heard this in the when they were talking about the Pro Tour that just happened too. When you're drafting with so many good players, the 5-color Legends deck doesn't seem to come together as it might when you're drafting on MTGA, because a lot of these strong legendaries get picked up just because people are speculating. So you can't just be able to find them all and throw in great hauls and call it a deck. So
Yeah,
we'll
well,
see if
seeing the Many Partings here, and I mean, he's seen the Ents Furies late. Maybe to him it's not a signal, but I would probably think that green is available. The question is whether you want to be in it or not. Looks like he's selected Eowyn here. Perhaps as just a safer card here. And here's his Shadowfax. This might pull him into a white red deck since he already has one.
a non-human space right what deck it's possible.
But instead, he's clicked on the Landroval, which is a white legend. Maybe thinking it's going to be a white green deck. He does have the two innkeepers there.
Is he trolling by the Brandywine farmer? I'm not sure about that.
I'm sure he has. I thought that card was castable at the beginning of the format. Turned out just it wasn't strong enough, and green being weak, that card was virtually unplayable.
It's a late Glorious Gale, by the way. It's one of the better blue comments.
Yeah, well, whoever was passing to him, almost assuredly, whoever was passing him, or at least the person immediately after them, or potentially both, were taking blue cards in the first pack because he saw basically none of it, and now all the blue is coming through him, but he can't really make use of it. There is a generous end.
If Evan's in blue, he might be getting hooked up with these past blue cards.
Yeah, I mean, we got 3 premium blue cards here: Stern Scolding, Glorious Gale, and then my pet card of the format, Pelagear Survivor. Which actually it didn't even end up being a pet card. Like I was onto that card right away that it was very good, even though past versions of it have looked pretty poor, and it turns out that it was just actually good. It wasn't actually even like a pet card. The card was just very good. But it looks like he's taking the Mushroom Watchdogs over the Ent. Maybe he's gonna find this sort of elusive green white food aggro deck that it looked like it existed but never did. And
No,
at the last moment, he changed to the Ents here.
I
He's
wouldn't be surprised if that's because he knows he's being watched and recorded. He changed at the last second just to get it.
he's having a good time with us. But there was sort of this. I mean, basically looking at the preview of the set, there was sort of this green white food aggro deck where you could use the food aggressively on the Watchdogs and on Pippin's Bravery and other things to get advantage. But that deck just was almost like a myth.
Might be settling in on green. Maybe he's speculating on black a little because of the Rise of the Rich King. He does have Golem still, but we're almost 2 packs in here. Not exactly sure what he's going for.
All right, he's got. I mean, Banish from Edoras turned out to be pretty serviceable. Fog on the Bower Downs turned out to be like quite a bad version of this effect, one of the worst we've seen in a long, long, long time. I pretty much always played a Banish from Edoras in my deck, even though it wasn't terribly efficient. But it gets it off the board. Green white has trouble getting creatures off the board, and that one does it pretty cleanly, even if it's not the most efficient spell in the world.
Green white looking like the most likely.
Yeah, and I think this is one of like the decks that people would be interested in playing the least. Green white, particularly a green white deck that's not splashing around. We don't know yet if he's going to be able to splash around. We haven't seen one single Great Hall of the Citadel, which is a bad sign if he is wanting to splash some of these legends.
Yeah, Enraged Torn's one of the best green commons, and maybe it's up there if you look at 17 lands, which I don't, but I listen to people that do.
Right. Yeah, I mean, look at it. 4/5 trample, ring tempts you, just really, really solid. All right,
For it.
slip on the ring. That's a card that has some use here. I've kind of liked playing one in most of my decks.
Just the Is It color cards coming around besides the slip on the ring.
Yeah, well, like you said, it looked like, as we could expect, people are fighting over the Grixis colors, at least in the first pack.
Envelope might help. He's trying to splash some stuff.
Yeah, we'll see. So notably, he has taken the Shadowfax out of his deck, but he's left in some of the black cards in his current mock-up of his deck here.
Yeah, envelope.
Well, there's an Ents Fury. Does he want it now? Is it finally time for the Ents Fury?
I mean, the second envelope's the other choice, so.
I mean, I guess he didn't need to take them before because he can get them with 3 cards left. So there's the Farmer, which even in the most dedicated food deck, probably still doesn't make the cut.
Yeah.
And there's Mr. Bombadil himself. And there's the best one of the best cards in the set here, Orcish Bowmasters. Now here's the question. I guess it's like a 2-part question. Do you take it and try and splash it, or do you take it and pivot to black? That's the question.
That's the 2 questions. So you're not doing it to deny your opponents at this point. So he's looking at Build a Pony.
Yes.
Very good card.
Stew the Conies also would be of interest. I would imagine.
You're gonna try to get into black with like what 1 or 2 pips total taken?
As good as Bowmasters is, I don't think it's a card I would splash because it's a card I would want to have access to as basically as early as turn 2. Drawing it late in the game, it'll still do something, but just pretty unimpactful if it's like your splash card that you eventually cast on turn 7. But maybe he'll try and pivot into green black. He does have the 2 gold cards.
He's trying to go black. That black as a second color is going to be underwhelming, I would imagine, from if he's only starting now. So
I know
it might derail his draft if he just tries to go into blacker right now.
I know he had 2 of them in his league deck, so he may have cast that card in league more than anyone. And here's another black rare, very good one, Call of the Ring.
Evan's
So
really not going to be in black, I'm guessing. So he gets hooked up with a very, very good black rare right after taking Bowmaster.
it's a strong assumption that Evan, who's passing him in this pack, is not is not playing black.
Exactly. So he gets rewarded right when I said he might get derailed. So
I
pick up
sup-
some black cards.
I suppose there might have been is like what's a better black uncommon than that card? Maybe like a Nazgul or something, but unlikely that he's black here.
Potentially foil, but I mean, yeah, good chance he's not black. He was getting past good blue cards, as we said last pack.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if Evan was in some type of a blue build here based on what we saw.
And there was an early firebrand pass to him as
Well,
well.
there's
Ooh,
a Great Hall of
Butterbrain.
the Citadel. There's also a Woe's Pathfinder. That could open up some avenues here for him, and he instantly starts mousing over both of them. Does not have
Green
a
black deck.
Pathfinder yet.
Green black deck might be there. I mean, he needs the black cards if he wants
Yeah,
to have labels, but
yeah. So black might be the most heavily contested color, but green is going to be the least heavily contested color. So you fill your deck with green cards, and you have just enough black cards to make it all come together. Like I said, those gold cards are a strong pull, stronger than the two innkeepers that he has in green white.
let's see hovering here.
Well, he's either choosing between the land or the Pathfinder.
Land has less value if you're just in two colors and playing your colors.
He wants the
Oh, you want
land here.
Doors of Durin. Looks like a
Door.
very strong card. The color pair is not strong, but it's a strong card.
Yeah, Doors of Durin looks like a good card. The funny thing is that you can cast it off of a Great Hall of the Citadel. Great Hall of the Citadel just lets you tap for mana for any legendary card. So it doesn't have to be a creature, so you can actually splash it off of your Great Halls if you have them.
And you could play big creatures that you want to treat in for free because those big creatures often say cycling on them. So you can get generous
Well,
and
it's the creature has to be on top of your deck, right?
yeah. I'm saying you don't have to fill your you can get big creatures in more reliably in this set instead of getting like a free 2/2 or something, which is underwhelming.
Yeah, you
I've,
could play
I've,
more of them.
I've gotten generous ends in the 6/5 with
So
Super
he
Menace.
did go for the powerful card there with the doors. Um,
Okay.
he did say, you know what, I want some power. I can maybe make this work. I don't, probably not planning on playing too many red cards, but I'm sure he knows the Great Hall of Citadel lets you cast things other than creatures. Lets you cast legendary instant even. It also lets you
Yeah.
cast Flowering of the White Tree. Basically, any enchantment or artifact that's legendary.
This
And now
pack.
he's taking Strider, which I mean, if you read Strider, it reads like a very strong magic card. It turns out green red was just very hard to pull together.
But Song is a way to tempt if he's willing to take it.
Yeah,
Not much being
one thing about green is that the tempting is not plentiful, and the cards that tempt are not that great outside of the 4/5. Like the 3 mana 4/2 that when it dies tempts Bombadil Song is not amazing. So green, aside from like being the weakest color, also has the temp cards that it has access to are kind of worse than a lot of the other colors. Looks like he's going
I
for the
mean,
Watchdog here, just as a curve filler. And just as I was saying, there's that dwarf that tempts.
when it dies, yeah. There's I guess he's looking at the green white food deck still. Maybe
Yeah,
that's what he's got.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's halfway through the draft, and I will say we're not sure exactly what direction this is going. It's going in the green direction, I suppose, but second color is still on the table very much. And interesting that he took the doors and put it immediately into the sideboard. Maybe just take it out of the draft. So he did end up taking the Hobbit Sting there at the last moment, I believe.
We'll take a look after. Hobbit's thing yeah, goes in the food deck, I guess. You don't need it in the
Yeah,
food deck, though.
he did take the Hobbit Sting, and now he's looking at the Farmer here. Um, I mean, Farmer is like a pretty decent card. Just turns out there wasn't like a great home for it in the format. I think that was the main issue with the card. Now Stu the Coney's coming back around. I'm sure he's pretty happy with that. As much as a 2 mana sorcery speed fight spell is not that interesting to him, I think that this definitely is.
Which one's. Oh, the Ents Fury you're
The
referring
Stu,
to.
yeah, the Ents Fury, I don't think is of huge interest to him, but I do think this effect is instant speed. It's not a fight spell. It's just
Also get.
as we call it, a bite spell, and you get a food token even.
Yep. He's pretty firmly in green. Is it going with white? Is it going with black? Black is even more unlikely, even though he's got two very good rares.
Yeah, I think it's leaning towards white here based on what he's seen. As expected, black. You know, not open. I mean, Evan passed him Call of the Ring because assumedly he's not in black. And there's your Ants Fury coming around.
Fighters. It's a way to stay alive, supplement it with some food, win the late game. Is that his game plan?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think I was gonna say I think he's gonna take the spider here. All right, we got the Ent Drop Basin. Never saw that one on
All
the
right.
stack. War of the Last
Okay.
Alliance is an interesting one.
What else is here?
That
Gothmog.
that has a pretty high ceiling, but he actually doesn't have that many busted legends.
Not the right colors for his rares and uncommons for him.
Yeah, and then we got Theoden here, great card. Gothmog, great. Crebain, one of the best commons, if not the best.
What's his decisions? Nothing great.
I think he's gonna
Not
take.
for what
Looks like he's taking Gothmog. I mean, he could still be green black. He might think maybe I'm gonna be a Legends deck and I'll be able to splash all these random legends. Gothmog being one of them, but I think he's sad seeing the Crebain there. But that's honestly that he's not seen one Crebain the entire draft. There's been no Claim the Precious. No, like none of the good black commons. Like hasn't seen Mordor Muster, hasn't seen Sam's Desperate Rescue, hasn't seen the 3/2 that ring temps. He's seen a couple of the 6/5 trolls, the commons, but like he's seen one Lash of the Balrog. This is
was the
the
pick
this is
there?
only
Was
the
it Gothmog?
second Torment of Gollum that he's seen after pack one. So it's really
Or
just
had the card you were referring to just a second ago?
yeah,
It's on the.
the Berserker, yeah. It's just like hasn't seen them. Like those are the reasons why you end up in black is because they're so deep at common. But looks like he might just be forcing his way into black. Uh, whether or not it's entirely open. So sort of what I spoke to before. Fill your deck with green cards, and then sprinkle in a few black cards that are going to raise the power level by a huge amount.
That's what he's doing. Lauren revealed modern playable. Lauren revealed is in the pack too.
Yeah, and I think the main thing that's affecting his decision here is those gold cards that he picked up early. The Old Man Willow, the Rise of the Witch King, the Orcish Bowmasters that he just randomly opened, and the Call of the Ring that he got past. Those are just better than the white cards he has, even if white is more open. They're just better. That's just a product of black being just very, very powerful in this set. And I think this is him settling in here. We're a little more than halfway through, and I think this pick and the Torment of Gone in the last pack is him just putting his foot down and saying, I'm choosing black because it's better. Not because it's
Right.
open, because it's better.
And I do like how there's a casual Doors of Durin. Just ignored it. Second one.
I
He wanted.
I think he's focusing, and now he may keep some of these white legends here, depending on how many playables he ends up having or what he wants to do. So he's taking this Great Hall of the Citadel. Normally, if you were just playing a straight green black deck, that wouldn't be of too much interest. But maybe he does want to play those innkeepers. Maybe the Landravel, the 5-drop bird. Maybe it's just like something to help him close out games. So pretty good pick here. I
Is it
mean, the green and black cards, not nothing special. The Ungol Patrol is completely fine, but replaceable. There's an Arwen. I would imagine
all?
he would want to splash that. That card is just that card's like a real bomb, right?
Yeah, it's a fantastic thing for him to see. There's only a couple green cards, green gold cards that you like really want to go out of your way for, and this is one of them.
Yep, I would say that is about the best signal he's seen the whole day. not not that green white as a color pair is open, but that the sort of green splashing deck is available.
Well,
And
you could
the
splash just two airs in the two slots
and
for black, but a deck with green white.
and that Great Hall of the Citadel that he just picked up the last pack before is paying dividends immediately. No sooner than he picked it up did he get a reason to want to use it. Then there's this pack which is not offering too much. I know he's a fan of Orcish Medicine, but maybe that's more for the amass deck than it is for the style of deck he's going to end up being.
See what he goes for.
I think he just put something directly into the sideboard.
A defender. I think. Got Scarecrow there.
Yeah, that's Scarecrow. I mean, that card I've barely even seen play. Like it's not it's if you're trying to fix, just play an extra basic land of whatever you're splashing rather than
What's
the
your
Scarecrow.
sideboard against low tap creatures?
Revive the Shire is a card that I think is pretty good in most of these decks, and there's
That
a
is
nice one.
pick eight. Pick eight. He's getting these cards so late, so I think he's gonna be able to make green white work.
Yeah, so I wonder if he's thinking that he wants to be green white, or if he just wants to stick to the black plan and splash, or maybe he's just going to be straight three colors. I'd be surprised if he was just like straight across the board three colors. Um, we'll find out in round one after the deck building portion.
Photo's one way to get multiple temps on one card.
But definitely green white is open for sure.
He just cut one Butterbur. I don't know if that was on purpose.
He's there's not always a rhyme or a reason to some of the things this man does. We know he likes to keep us on our toes at least.
Esquire of the King doesn't look so bad when you're full of legendaries. Not a high priority, of course.
Yeah,
Does he want to dog?
but I think that the deck that's good in is just a deck that's really low to the ground. Like if you have so many legends, probably the power level of those legendary cards are just going to carry you rather than the Esquire of the King pumping your board.
That is true.
Entish Restoration is like to me that's like a power creep card because like back in the day Harrow was an amazing card and now like Entish Restoration like it looks like it should be fine, right? You fix, you ramp. It's just too slow a lot of the time.
Did he
Like
take the Eagles? Did he take the Eagles there?
yeah, he took Eagles of the North, the land
Yeah.
cycler. Looks like he's taking
Yeah.
a sideboard card here, shower of arrows. Probably gonna take another one right to the sideboard here.
Not entirely too many targets for that in this
Yeah.
set, particularly.
So I was
Sorry.
thinking at the beginning of the pack, he's dug his feet in on green black, right? He's in, he's green black, he's not giving it up, and then he sees the Arwen and the Frodo, which makes you wonder,
Getting passed
exactly where he's
around
going
to
to end
everyone.
up. But he
Frodo's a
certainly
high pick trying to do that legendary deck, so he's pretty well certain no one's even doing that.
Elven Chorus is a card that has. I'm still sort of not sure how good it is. I've heard some people say it's great. I've heard some people say I would never cast it. I don't know if it's just as a result of green not being great, this card sort of got put to the wayside. But when you read the card, it sounds really good to me.
I think he's probably going to be picking it up. He's clearly in green, but it could wheel, so maybe he's thinking that.
I mean, this back is pretty poor. I mean, I guess if he wants to be black, the Torment of Gollum is sort of a premium-ish type of card.
I'm seeing Bilbo, which is a very nice card, and I wouldn't be surprised if Evans is it. We know he got some good red and blue cards from this side of the table, but Evan's not seeing his till pick 8. So
Yeah, Bilbo is
nothing.
excellent and can be splashed off of Great Halls, but I think that's a little. I think that's a far reach even for this deck, which is sort of it's still up in the air exactly how he's going to end up.
Not highlighting anything yet. Let's see what Raf goes for.
Yeah, he's been one of our more entertaining drafters, I'd say. Just waiting till right at the last second. He took the bird there.
The land river. Yeah.
Yeah, just maybe he's regretting it now that he sees another bird here and not much else to pick in his colors. Sauron's
Yeah.
Ransom, great card. It's a fact or fiction style card, but not something he can really make use of.
Well, you wanted land river. Here's another one. Not too
Yeah,
much else.
that card's not been super impressive. Like it's fine. It does what it says it does. It's usually worth a slot in the deck, but it's not getting me too. It's not really ever getting me too excited.
No, just 5 mana cards.
Like the Elven Chorus, the potential for that card is so appealing. I find that the potential is very high. I wonder if maybe he's played with it and wasn't impressed.
Well, we'll see if it's there for his 9th pick.
Somebody might just snipe it out of the draft. That pack was pretty weak. So another bird here. Interesting.
It's a green rare slot. That's what you get in the green rare slot.
You got a Fangorn, the Tree Shepherd.
4/10.
When you need to cast a 4/10 for 7 mana, there he is. And I think he ramps you or something or other. But we do have
synergy.
We do have Torment of Gollum here, so if he's still interested in being, secondary color black, that would be the pick. Pretty clear.
I've made a couple decks where I just go 2 color and then splash a couple torments off color.
I could see a Great Hall of the Citadel also being the pick here, considering the power of some of his legends that he's picked up.
See what he picks up. He's got 10 seconds to choose.
Well,
Great Hall seems like
he's as we've seen, he's not hesitated to pick a card with 2 seconds left, and it's going to be Torment of Gollum there. There's a Rise of the Witch King. I imagine that would be something he would really want here.
second Bilbo of this pack we see already.
And there's a blue mythic even. Look at that.
Watching Water. I think it never untaps. Is that the one that never untaps?
9 turns it'll untap, yeah.
Generous at number 3 means you get a bigger spell density.
Yeah, and I know he likes to shave those lands for land cyclers. Sometimes even at a 1-for-1 rate, which I don't do that. I think it's a little too risky, but a lot of times in draft he likes to cut lands at a 1-for-1 basis with the
I'd say 2 for 3. Every 3 you could cut 2, maybe.
It also depends on the curve. It also depends on how cheap your spells are and all that. I imagine
For sure.
he's gonna leave it right till the end again, but I thought it was gonna be Rise of the Witch King, and it was. This one I don't think he's gonna make us wait too much. Looks like a pretty clear enraged Huorn here.
No suspense. We don't get any suspense about what he's taking. He just cut the 2 land.
He cut 2 of the 3, yes. Yeah, I'm still wondering about that Land Revolve versus Elven Chorus. Maybe he's just had experience with the card and didn't like it too much.
Well, let's see. Pick 9. I'm not entirely going to be surprised if it's their pick 9. Not entirely.
So here's a Black Legend, the 2-drop. That card's very replaceable, but he actually doesn't have that much going on the 2 slot. So that might be the pick if he's concerned about curve here. So I do think he's leaning into green-black being his base.
Hobbit Sting was
Yeah, Hobbit Sting is not the card I want to splash, though.
No, he already picked up 2. He was thinking about the food deck for a while in this
well, he picked them up. He picked them up on the early side, but he's taking another one here. Maybe he just figures even if I'm 3 colors, I need a way to interact. Hobbit Sting interacts. I mean, it kills a creature. Nothing too much of interest here. Maybe a Black Breath. I mean, is this the deck for Mirror of Galadriel? Is this no? I guess not. Well, there's a Frodo Baggins.
You gotta pick 8 again. The eighth one. Another pick 8 for 2 packs in a row.
Yeah, here's the thing though. Like this deck might be entirely wide open, and it still might be worse than like most of the Grixis colored decks. Like
Well, it's interesting.
at any player who ended up in Grixis, even if they were fighting fiercely over it, might still have ended up with a better deck than what was the most open deck at the table.
It's rare to not wheel the Elven. What is it called?
The Elven Chorus. I figured somebody, if not, I mean, I don't. I imagine there's probably at least one other green drafter, and somebody could have just sniped it as a hate pick as well.
Well, if I'm in green white, I'm happy to see a couple Frodos.
Yeah, it's just how white is this deck going to be, or how black is it going to be? That's the question. That'll be interesting to see since we will follow him into his first round matchup, so we will get to see exactly how he builds his deck. Um, maybe the last pack here, pack six, will shed some light onto it, but based on how he's building his deck here, and like he's still got cards of all three colors there in his main build, which they're unlikely to be there, and you get excited when you see a horn as your rare, but you want
Horn
that
of
you want that other horn. You want the Gondor.
Fear Firefall is going to make somebody happy,
Yeah,
probably.
Fear Firefoe is best card in the pack by a mile. One of the top. I mean, I don't know if it's in the. It's definitely in the top echelon of uncommons. It compares favorably to a lot of the rares, but I think it's a little just too far out of what he's drafted. It's just, you know, that's really a stretch.
Mirror, Orcish Medicine, and Bats. There's also Firemere and Mirkwood Spider. The other considerations depends
Yeah,
how much he wants to go into white. There's going to be tempting though, and Faramir is tempting synergy if he wants to go that green white with Frodo's.
yeah. If he's looking to be more green white, Faramir is great. I mean, Faramir is a card you can splash in your green black base. It's not as good there, but will still be fine. Like the triggered ability of drawing a card if one of your creatures died is still good.
He went
There's
with
a
the Bottomless.
Nazgul. It's one of the that's also one of the best uncommons. Up there with Fear Fire Foes and the 5 mana Aomer. And he's gonna pretty happily take the Nazgul here.
There
And
you
there's
go.
a second Arwen. Look at that.
That's a second Faramir of the pack if you wanted, but no question, Arwen.
So yeah, I mean, I imagine he's happy here. It's like you're happy to see cards that are this good, like double Frodo, double Arwen, but you're kind of sad to be green white in a in a way, just because it's it's just not a desirable deck. But like these are the cards that put you in it. So like
That's the
he
card.
has every reason to be playing all of this, and he's immediately selected the Great Hall.
You can go Frodo into Arwen on curve.
We got our sad green rare number. I don't even know how many sad green rares there are, but
Into
there's
Butterbeer. So he has doubles of
the
three
ring.
legends
The
on
ring
curve.
goes south. Not exactly what you want, but yeah, Great Hall of the Citadel. I think I, he
I
might
think
be
Great Hall.
taking the bow here. No, no way.
Great Hall is good value with all these legends you picked up. So I have to
Yeah,
worry about
like
color.
this is one of the few mega drafts we've had, at least as a feature drafter, where I'm sitting there and I'm saying I don't know exactly still what his deck's going to be. There was one other time that we had a drafter that even by the end of pack six, I said I don't know what their second color is, and they didn't even know either. Really, they kind of decided in deck building, and he's got
This
another nice legend here.
bomb rare, Great Hall, three Great Halls is gonna easily let you cast this white black card. It's not even off color for him necessarily.
So he's got an Abzan Legends deck here. He's going to take the Shire. That's going to be untapped a good portion of the time.
And Rise of the Witch King is also an inevitability for these bombs. They can come right back.
Yeah, he's got two of those. like like we suspected from the start, black was very closed. There was sort of these small clusters where there was a couple of black cards that came through, but for the most part, really not available. But he sort of dug in his feet. He took a few black cards, and he's gonna make it work. He's gonna pull this all together. I feel like the quality of these cards is gonna pull through hopefully.
Another plane cycler here. It's also a payoff for going wide, which he can a little bit maybe.
Is it finally time for many partings? I think it is. All right, how many enraged two horns do you want, sir? Now for Raf, now for Ruin. I think
Not for
he's
that.
highlighting
Is that
that.
what you? Is that
Some. I think it was Evan made a silly card. Changed it now for Raf, now for Ruin, since he was partially responsible for some of the downfall of our stipulation matches.
Oh yes.
I believe he was trying to escape the Brawl week by trying to not play Brawl.
Legit. Ringo South, Gladrimbo, and Lumbus, the last three cards.
Yeah, again, not surprising here. See the green cards. Notably, I believe he took the last Ents Fury and he dragged it right into the sideboard. So really, just not a fan of that card as it seems to be. And that basically concludes our draft. We see Rafael with his Abzan Legends. Like I said, very interesting to see exactly how it'll end up. It's not clear. It's not clear exactly how he's going to build it. We know the powerful gold cards are going to be in there, but that's about all we know. So we'll be back in a little bit to review all of the pools for all the drafters.